Hey guys, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
We're two lifelong friends and musicians, but when we're not playing gigs, we like to talk games.
And today on the Game and Gig podcast, we are talking about The Last of Us Part 1 and Mario Strikers Battle League.
So we're going to do something a little different on the podcast today. We're going to hit two topics.
Yeah.
Because this was like the big news this week. Was first that The Last of Us is getting a remake that they're calling The Last of Us Part 1.
Yep.
And then also Mario Strikers came out on Switch and we've been playing that. So figured why not talk about that too. But let's start with The Last of Us, man.
Yeah.
This is something that has been rumored for a little while. And I expected it to happen.
Yeah.
But I think it caught a lot of people off guard, even though it had been rumored.
Yeah, I think those people probably just weren't paying attention to the rumors. I know I'm kind of skipping ahead here. I know you can make the argument that maybe it didn't need to be remade, so maybe that's why it caught some people off guard.
Because it seemed like a rumor that didn't make sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's certainly like one of the best games of all time. It is my favorite game of all time, as a matter of fact. And that being said, I'm really excited about this remake. So, Randy, can you kind of tell us what is this remake? What are they doing?
Okay, so...
Are they going to screw up my beloved?
So that's the thing. It's like, this is weird because it's not like a traditional remake, like what you'd imagine in your head as like a completely ground up, like they're redoing the game.
Like Final Fantasy VII.
Right. It's not like that. Instead, it's more like a retexture almost. I mean, they are changing some things from what I understand, but the main thing that is changing is they've redone all the assets. And it's not like they just up-res the assets. They completely redid them.
Yeah.
They are changing character models. They're doing all that stuff. So it's a complete overhaul and a complete remake of all the visuals, primarily.
Yeah.
But on top of that, they are changing the enemy AI.
Yeah.
So they'll be more intelligent, maybe more like what we saw in Last of Us Part 2.
Yep.
And then they are also changing some combat, maybe the mechanics of the combat, updating those. And that's about it.
Yeah. Do you know if we're going to get a dodge like in Part 2? Are we going to have the dodge mechanic?
They didn't say specifically, but that would be cool.
That would be cool. I mean, it would change some things. But if they're changing enemy AI, it makes sense, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of seems like their goal is to make it so that you have The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. They're both, basically playing like the same game. They have the same mechanics. It feels like that's their goal here.
Similar visuals. I bet they're in the same engine and stuff.
Yeah.
So, that's what the remake is. It's not a traditional remake.
It's like a remaster on super steroids.
Yeah, it's weird in between. But I suppose if you had to categorize it, you'd say it's a remake.
Yeah.
But that brings us to the question of, did The Last of Us need a remake? Because one of the very first things, Catherine, my wife, was gone during when this announcement. She was not there. And she came home and I said, oh, Last of Us is getting a remake. She was super confused. Because she had watched me play The Last of Us Remaster, because this has already been remastered for PS4.
Right.
And she said that game looked phenomenal. Why would it need a remake? And I agree. The game did look real. The remaster looked really good. It was HD. It looked phenomenal. But it was It was an up-res, right?
Right.
So I think a lot of people don't think this game needs a remake.
Yeah. I mean, I think this is really a discussion about the definition of need versus the definition of want. Because, The Last of Us is, in my opinion, the best game of all time. No, it doesn't need a remake. But do I want one that makes it play as good as Part 2, look as good as Part 2, but not change the story? Yes, sure. Why not? Why wouldn't I want that?
Right. No, and I think you're saying like not change the story. Like they've made it very clear. They're using the original performances. They're doing all the original motion capture. They're just changing out the models and stuff.
Yeah, they said, at Summer Games Fest that they just went and rewatched performances from the actors, and they can just now make it look more accurate to what they actually did.
Well, I think they had all the capture, like the motion capture, so they were able to just make it even more accurate, right? So they're really, it's not like they redid this game. It's really weird, like you said. It's like a remaster on steroids.
Yeah.
But I mean, the game did look really good already.
It did.
So this might be a kind of like, it's an indulgence It's not a need, but I do think that it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
One of the things that's interesting about this is that it's going to be a PS5 exclusive. I think it will eventually come to PC.
There is a PC version in development, they said.
But for a while, it's only going to be on PS5. And that's interesting because, well, I mean, one, we're going to start to see that more and more. But this won't be on PS4. On PS4, you'll still just have the remaster. You won't have this remake. But you know, I think it being a PS5 exclusive, I wonder if I wonder how much work went into this. I mean, it has to be a good amount of work.
I'm thinking quite a bit.
But, you know, because they're using all the original stuff, there's basically retexturing everything, new models and everything. You know, they obviously wanted to port The Last of Us to PS5. And this is a way to do it and, you know,
make it worth it.
Make it worth it and get people to pay $70 for it.
That's right.
Because this will be a $70 game.
Yeah, and if I can find any copies of that collector's edition in stock, I'm going to pay $100.
That's $100. Yeah. Wow.
Because I want it.
Well, you don't have a physical copy of The Last of Us to begin with.
Actually, I do have one in the mail. I got one through GameStop real cheap.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, and I got a part 2 as well. Oh. When this got announced, I was like, you need to own these physically. Like, yeah. So I ended up paying like less than $30 for both games.
Oh, that's not bad at all. Yeah, no, not at all. That light over there's flashing again. My goodness. Guys, if the lights are flashing, our apologies. We're having some trouble.
Sorry, guys.
But yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, my thought is I'm excited about this. I'm going to play it. That was my question at the end is like, are we going to play this?
Duh.
Of course we're going to play this.
I want to stream it.
Yeah.
I mean, we've already been talking about
how we're going to do
that as a collective effort.
Yeah. I mean, it's The Last of Us. Of course we're going to play it. And they know we're going to pay the $70 and buy it, or Daniel's going to pay $100. I don't know. I'm not that interested in the collector's edition, but
well, we've talked about how some games aren't worth full price and some games are worth more, right? Yeah. Like we used Breath of the Wild as an example. Like, you know, that game is worth $200. Like that's a great game, right? And I feel the same way about The Last of Us. I mean, I would pay just about whatever they asked me to pay.
And you have never paid for The Last of Us because
no, I haven't.
Because your original copy came bundled with your PS4.
That's right. My original copy came bundled with my PS4, and then I got part 2 from you.
I guess it was a digital version that came with your PS4.
It was.
And then you borrowed part 2 from me. So
the only thing I ever paid for was the poster on the wall.
So, yeah. Last was part 1. Any last thoughts before we move on to Mario Strikers? I'm excited about this.
I'm pumped. Yeah. I think about it multiple times a day, and I just get more excited every time.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as exciting as if like a part 3 came out.
No, it's not as exciting as a part 3, but I don't know. It's like, I know you like part 2 better than part 1, and I'm the opposite.
Right.
I like part 1 better. I think the story's tighter, and I just like it more. But I've always wished it played as good as part 2. So it's like I'm getting to have my cake and eat it too.
Right,
I'm really excited.
Yeah, I'm excited to replay it. It's been a little while. I've been itching to replay it anyway.
Yeah, all y'all on Reddit, you need to stop poo-pooing Naughty Dog over this. You're gonna play it. You're gonna love it. Stop being a negative Nancy.
So another big thing this week was that Mario Strikers came out. This is the newest competitive game from Nintendo. Kind of in the they do all these sports games and Nintendo competitive games seem different than other competitive games. I don't know what it is. I guess just the Nintendo thing.
Well, they're arcadey and the online generally isn't amazing. So
right.
That's what sets them apart.
So
and we'll get to that.
I thought we could kind of tackle Mario Strikers. Pun not intended there, but
a lot of tackling.
Yeah, I thought we could kind of go through some of the good things and some of the bad things. So we'll start with the pros because why not?
Yeah, let's start positive.
First of all is the gameplay. I think the gameplay is pretty solid.
The gameplay is tight. I like the gameplay a lot.
It's a little complicated.
Lot to it.
Yeah,
it's deep. I think it's nuanced. I think.
Like Smash, it has it's easy to pick up, hard to learn.
Yes, I think there's gonna if it has any sort of staying power, I think the meta will get pretty sophisticated for this game as people get good with it.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you. I think that people will figure out like what teams are ideal, and like how to what kind of stats you need to go towards, and like what kind of gear. I think, like you said, it all depends on will the community take to the game?
Yeah.
And that's what it all comes down to.
Yes.
Because if a community doesn't take to this game, it doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how sophisticated the gameplay is or how deep it could be.
Yeah.
If a community doesn't form around it, it's not going to last. It's like ARMS. Like they tried, like
ARMS, yeah.
ARMS, I think, had potential, but a community never took to it. So it just like, I'm sure there are some people still playing ARMS, but
I guess.
yeah, but it's just like same thing with like Mario Tennis Aces,
Which I think had great gameplay too.
right? I don't think it was quite as deep and complex as Strikers,
I
but
don't either.
you got it. There's got to be a community developed around this, and we'll just see.
I'm hoping. I mean, I think gameplay-wise, this is my favorite of the Mario sports games I've played recently. Now, I never played golf.
I own golf, still haven't played it yet.
Okay, well,
I have it still in the cellophane.
Every time I see it, I think it looks fun. But I think I let like reviews kind of sway me a little bit.
Yeah, no, the reviews were very negative towards the golf.
And I'm starting to see that about Strikers. Mm-hmm. And then we'll talk about why later. But I have my suspicions that I'm afraid it could go the way of golf if they're not careful.
Right, and yeah, absolutely. I mean, even like Nintendo Switch Sports, which is another sports game from Nintendo that just came out like a few weeks ago, it's already dead. You know?
Yeah, that thing like came and went like crazy.
Yeah,
like,
and there's reasons. I mean, like you never played it, did you?
Never played it.
I got
into GameFly it one day.
I played it, and the soccer in it is really fun. There's 6 games at launch, 3 of which are net sports. It's like volleyball, badminton, and tennis, which are all too similar to each other. Mm-hmm. They're okay, but they're not great. So you can pretty much count half the games as being the same. And then there's bowling, which is fun. It's bowling. And then, there is soccer, which is really fun, but it's just Nintendo ripping off Rocket League. And then what's the other one? Oh, there's the sword game. I don't remember what it's called.
I don't remember what that's called either.
And that one's okay too. But really, so there's only one really good sport out of the 6.
Right.
So it kind of is gone. But here, I think we have some pretty strong gameplay in Mario Strikers. So hopefully, I'm hoping that it sticks around because I have enjoyed what I've played of it.
Me too. And I'm also curious to see if any stats kind of show themselves as being a little overpowered.
Yeah,
I'm curious.
I think we ran across that with Mario Tennis Aces, where if you remember, there was
the tricky stat.
The tricky stat was like it was way overpowered.
Yeah.
If you because like I think it was Rosalina and Boo. Was it Boo. Rosalina and Boo?
I think more than that, but Boo had a high tricky stat.
Yeah, it was like Rosalina and Boo, and those 2 people were. It was like way
you just
harder.
couldn't return the ball.
Yeah, it was way harder to go against them.
And Mario Strikers kind of replicates that with the technique stat. Because that's how you like curve your shots and things like that. But it's not quite the same thing because for one, you don't even play as the goalie. So
right, and these are they're not made by the same Tennis Aces wasn't made by Next Level, was it?
No, I don't think
that
so.
was like by I think that was the same people who did the golf game, but maybe I'm wrong about that.
Mario Tennis Aces was developed by Camelot Software Planning.
Camelot, okay. And what else did they do?
Did they do? Rush? Is that the new golf game, Super Rush?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yep, Camelot.
Okay. So same people. Okay. So speaking of, Next Level has done Mario Strikers. Before Mario Strikers, they did Luigi's Mansion 3.
Yep.
And I have to say, the thing they've got down is the graphics. I mean, like, dude, both those games are like, they're some of the best looking games on Switch. I still think Luigi's Mansion looks slightly better than Mario Strikers. In my personal opinion, it's just got a cooler vibe. But still, both these games look phenomenal.
Yeah.
For the Switch. I mean, like, and I honestly, I don't even know why I said that because I hate it when people say the game looks good for the Switch.
Yeah.
When the game looks good, it just looks good.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what system it's on.
Yeah, no, it looks really good, and all the post goal animations look super clean. The hopper strikes look clean. I wish there were more post goal celebrations. It seems like everybody has 2.
Oh, yeah.
So they start to repeat really fast, especially if you're playing somebody online who wants to watch their replays.
Yeah.
That gets really old.
But the graphics look phenomenal on this. I mean, like I have no complaints in the way it looks. And even some of the sections where it's like they have stylized sections in these things.
Yeah, for the hopper stripes.
Yeah, and they get kind of, it's like animated, but it's not pixel art. It's some sort of like thing, but it's very pixely.
It kind of, I think they want it to look kind of hand drawn.
Yeah, but it has some like very sharp edges and it's very pixelated, but it's very crisp and clear. Yeah. Everything looks really good.
It looks good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also You can do some 8-player local multiplayer.
Oh yeah, that's
8-player couch co-op.
the only other game that I know that can do 8-player multiplayer like local on a Switch is Smash.
Smash can do it.
Yeah.
I've never done it, but Smash can
I've
do
never
it.
done it with all 8. I've done it with like 6.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
I just hate playing free-for-alls and Smash. You know, my heart lies in the one-on-one.
You're right. I know you don't like the free for all, but it's fun. It can be fun if you have a bunch of people
It
around.
definitely can be fun.
So like this is a very rare thing to have 8-player local multiplayer. Now it has to be local. You can do that on one Switch, or you can link up to 4 Switches together to do this. So if you have like multiple Switches on the same network, you can link up to 4 on the same.
And then have two people on each Switch.
Yeah, yeah. You can do it that way too, or you can have 8 people on one, which is
yeah. And we'll talk about how maybe that didn't exactly carry over to the online.
Yeah,
So,
because it didn't.
Jumping into some cons here, one of the big criticisms that I've heard by the community is that it doesn't have enough content. You know, there's no career mode. You have quick play, which you can do offline or online. You have a cup tournament kind of system,
And that's where you're playing against computers, and you're going through like a
bracket.
sort of thing.
And then you have the Battle League, which is really the mode they've been pushing. And you know, I'm wondering and I'm hoping, because people say content's lacking, right? But Battle League season isn't even open yet. I'm hoping maybe when it opens up, we see that mode is really cool. I don't know.
Isn't it just going to be like an online, like, don't you just earn points and then at the end of the month,
Yes.
from what I've read, it's not the end of the month, the end of the season. During the season, you play online matches and you earn points.
Yeah.
And then you get ranked. And if you rank in a certain percent, like the top teams go against each other. And I don't know how that's scheduled or like how that works.
That's cool, though.
But that's pretty cool.
That's pretty
That's
cool.
pretty neat. I'm excited to see how that goes.
Yeah.
We'll see if it's good.
There's
or
also some increased customization with your uniforms, with your stadiums.
not. Right. There are some things that are there.
But we may have just defined the whole mode, so.
But here's the thing. Okay, like I think of this game where it has, it's got a quick play. It's got your cup, the cup thing, like, you know, where you go through,
Cup, whatever.
like against computers, and then it's got online. I don't know if you guys have played like other competitive games, like I think of like Rocket League.
Yeah.
Those are the exact same modes that are in Rocket League.
That's true, and nobody
And
complains
no one
about
says that
League.
Rocket League doesn't have enough content.
Right. Because Rocket League it got picked up by the community.
Right.
It's insanely popular in the esports world.
And
And it's a great game.
Yeah.
And it's got great gameplay.
But it wasn't developed by Nintendo, and I think that's
right.
the thing. And
Nintendo does they get picked on, but they also bring it on themselves. I'm not going to be a Nintendo apologist here,
No. But here's the thing: it's like with these games, with these like competitive multiplayer games, it's always you have this thing like people say, oh, it needs to have a career mode, a single player career mode, and then when it's there, they put it in, everyone dumps on it and says like, oh, the single player career mode, what's the point in this? This is, you know, it's got a shoehorned story, and it's, you know, it's just basically, you know, just playing matches with a crappy story to go along with it. Like, what's the point in this? Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
You're
say,
right.
like, take Smash Ultimate. It's got its single player career mode, which is.
Are you talking about World of Light?
Yeah.
Okay.
World of Light. Right. World of Light, I personally enjoyed, but it was very long and it didn't really have a story, and it was just basically doing all these kind of specialized matches. A lot of people who are into Smash didn't play it. You never touched
played
it.
it.
Right?
Nope, never played it.
So it's either like
750 hours on the game. Never played World of Light.
What's the point in them putting in something like this if the community isn't going to attach to it anyway? They're just going to complain if it's not there, and they're going to complain if it is there. So like,
I mean, you're right. You're absolutely right. No, I mean, World of Light just didn't look like something I wanted to play. I did play Subspace Emissary back in the day, you know, and that's like heralded as everyone's favorite Smash, you know, single player mode kind of adventure mode type deal. But I was also younger. Online play wasn't really a thing yet.
Yeah.
So nowadays, if they made Subspace, I don't know, I probably wouldn't play it. So I don't know. I see exactly what you're saying, though. Like, it's kind of an unfair criticism.
well, it's an unfair criticism either way.
Yeah.
It's like people are going to complain if it's not there, and people are going to complain if it is. So
Right.
like,
It's like a darned if you do, darned if you don't.
yeah, exactly. But So maybe content is lacking. I don't know. It just depends on like what you consider to be like. See, here's the thing. Like Rocket League is same way, but that's a free to play game.
True. It wasn't always though.
No, I don't guess so. I don't know. I mean, like I've never paid for Rocket League. So.
I haven't either. But there was a time when I didn't play it. When I thought about maybe playing it, but I didn't because I didn't want to pay for it.
Okay.
It was like $15 on Switch. It might have been always free on PC. I don't know. And I recently played it again on Switch, and I don't think I would do that again because it just doesn't seem to play great on Switch.
I've pretty much only played it on Switch.
Yeah, if I was going to play Rocket League, I would definitely just play it on my PC.
Right.
But I've been sitting here thinking, like we just talked about how the modes are the same as Rocket League, but people are also complaining that there's not enough characters and that there's not enough stadiums. So Rocket League does kind of have like infinite customization with your car.
There's a lot of stadiums and there is tons of customization with your car, right? Yeah.
So it does have more personal customization, a lot more than Strikers. And I know that they said like, hey, we got more content on the way, including new characters.
And a lot of people are tired of that because they're tired of Nintendo doing the thing where they release the game and then update it over time. And it just seems like, why didn't you just wait and put it out with everything? And I don't know, man, because I think about like 10 characters, okay? To me, that if they hadn't said they were going to put out more characters, would I be like, 10's not enough? I don't know, because like...
I don't know.
Like
there's a lot of cool Nintendo characters, man.
Yeah, I know, but like, do you really need... I don't know, man. I really don't know, because it's like weird. It's on that line. Like, if there were 5 characters, I'd be like, yeah, there needs to be more characters.
Yeah. Well, people are mad because Daisy's not there. Apparently, she's always been in Mario
She's pretty
Strikers.
much in all the sports games in general.
Yeah. So
I'm sure she's coming.
I'm sure she is, yeah.
Toadette will be coming, like there'll be other...
Yeah, Toadette.
No, there'll be other characters coming. I don't know. I'm torn on it because it's like, they could have added the characters. They're doing that because they want you to stick around and come back. They're trying to keep you hooked, and that's like their technique of doing it.
Yeah.
And maybe that works, maybe it doesn't. I don't know, but like...
Well, Spawnwave brought up a good point I saw in a video yesterday. He mentioned that, he, like us, bought the game physically. Mm-hmm. And 10 years down the road, because of all these online updates, that cartridge is not going to have all that. It's not going to be the complete game.
Right.
So you're...
It's a version of it.
You lose your Switch data somehow, but you still have the cartridge, and years later you get a Switch somehow, and you probably won't be able to play the complete game of Strikers, and that kind of sucks. Because he was talking about how, like, still to this day, I play Mario Strikers on the GameCube.
Right.
And it's the full game, and this one won't be that way.
No, and that is kind of a bummer, isn't it?
It is.
I wish that we could update the cartridges. Like, if they could be, updated by the Switch.
That would be cool.
I don't know if they want to do that, but... So, I really don't have a complaint about the number of players in the game. I don't think that's a big deal. I do think that there needs to be more stadiums. There's only 4 or 5.
5, I think.
Yeah, it's not much.
No.
But I do have one gripe about the game.
Okay, go for it.
The one big gripe I have is, and it seems like a huge overlook to me. Okay, online, you want to create these teams. Like, say we want to get a team of 4 together, and have it. Only problem is, Daniel, online, you can only have 2 people in a room.
Yeah.
So that means if you want to have a team of 4, you can do that, but 2 people have to be on one Switch and 2 people have to be on another.
Yeah.
You can't have 4 people in their own homes, like all online playing on your team, which is the way, if we were to do it, that's the way we need to do it.
Yeah, that's so dumb.
It's like, why can't there be 4 people in a room? Like,
yeah.
I understand, like, the more people you add, the more connection issues you're going to have to deal with. Mm-hmm. And, like, so they're saying now, like, with since you're playing against other teams online, the most they have to deal with is 4 connections at a time. Mm-hmm. Where if you go up to others, it's going to be 8 online connections all connecting at the same time. And I get that gets complicated. I know that could add some stability issues, I think.
Sure.
But if games like Sea of Thieves can have all these people online, or heck...
You don't even have to go outside of Nintendo, Randy.
What about like Battle Royale games that have 100 people?
Yeah. Or what about Mario Kart 8 Deluxe?
16
that has
people?
12 people.
12 people, whatever.
12 people in a race. And that game has the best online of any Nintendo game I've ever played. It is so stable. I've been kicked once. And I've been playing that game since the Wii U.
Right. So what in the world?
I mean, me and Kim played that game for an hour and a half yesterday. No issues.
And
Ever.
is it because, like, you're having to deal with, like in this game, I did notice when I'm playing online, one thing I did notice is that, like, certain things, like when you do the, what is it called when you have the special strike and you're like,
Hyperstrike.
Hyperstrike. Okay. Like, if you get a hyperstrike and I'm in my house and you're at your house, it doesn't show me like you doing the hyperstrike in real time.
Right.
Right. It kind of like
You kind of
is
have
delayed.
to, yeah. You really don't know how good they did.
Right. Until after it's over. So, like, there are some, like, client side versus, like, what's on the I understand there's some issues there. I don't really know much about it. But it still seems like a problem that they need to be able to have 4 people come together in a room, not 2.
I agree.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll update that.
That's what I hope. That would be my biggest thing that I
think
don't
you
care
should-
much about the other stuff.
I think you should be able to just go online and make a lobby with 8 people and play as many games as you wanted.
Yeah.
4 on each team. Like,
Why not,
regardless
right?
of whether you're in Battle League, Quick Battle, who cares? Like, with it for a game that they made such a big point of touting the online as its biggest draw.
Right.
It needs to have some good, some like more current day online, like, and you used to be able to say, well, at least it's free, but that's out the table now.
No. Because
Now we're paying for it.
Yeah, you're paying for Nintendo Switch Online, right?
Yeah.
And you have to have it to do this. I don't really care much about there's not enough, characters to choose from, and there's not enough stadiums, or there's not a, career mode. That kind of stuff is, you'll get it. That kind of stuff doesn't really matter to me. But what does matter is this online mode, not being able to get 4 different people at least on a team together,
Right.
That's my problem.
It's very annoying. It just seems like a huge oversight.
Yeah.
Come on, Nintendo. Put out this game that plays so good.
But I don't want to be too negative, I don't want to be too
either.
negative, but that's my one issue with
I
it.
really like the game.
Yeah.
I was playing it. I wasn't playing Smash when you walked in today.
No, you weren't. You were
playing
playing
this.
Mario Strikers. That's very, very telling.
That's a statement.
Yeah. So, moving on to the polls. We did some polls, as always. And
Yeah.
thank you guys for voting on our polls and for commenting on our polls.
Heck yeah.
So, the first poll we said was, did The Last of Us need a remake? And the results were about what I expected, but still kind of interesting.
Yeah.
So, 12% of people said yes, it did need a remake because it was held back by PS3 hardware. Because remember, it was a PS3 game.
Right.
So, 12%. That's not a huge percent. The majority of people, 53% of people said no, it was already great. Okay. And then 35% of people said no, but I'm happy about the remake nonetheless.
Yeah. And that's where I sit.
Me too.
Yeah. I sit in the 35%. And I'm not surprised by these results at all, but I'm a little surprised that maybe more people didn't just say they're happy anyway. Like, because of course it doesn't need a remake. It's the best game of all time.
Well, I mean, you think about it. The 12% of people said it did need a remake, and the people who said they were no, but they're happy about it. Basically, everyone in this list, I didn't leave a spot being like, I don't care about The Last of Us.
Yeah.
That would
Yeah,
really
you
maybe
need
give
one.
it. So, like, these are all like everyone I'm voting on this, I assume, is at least interested in the remake. But yeah. I think that I didn't think it needed a remake, but I'm happy about it. Why not?
Yeah, absolutely. But Heather Cook, longtime commenter, thanks Heather, said the announcement had me immediately asking why.
Why?
I mean, that was my knee-jerk reaction too. When I first heard the rumors, I was like, why? And I was scared because I was afraid they would remake everything, including the voice acting, and ruin the story.
Yeah.
Or just change the story at all.
Yeah.
Which would piss me off. Sorry to make us go PG there. But it doesn't seem like that's going to be the case, so I'm cool.
No, and the reason why is because, and I put this in a comment, Heather, on the channel, is it's because they want our money. That's why they're doing it.
That's exactly why.
Because they know we're going to pay for it. And
They can have it.
We love the game. I mean, it's they're giving us another reason to go back and revisit The Last of Us and to keep it in our consciousness and, it's such an amazing game. I think, they said in the thing, they want to give all these new players that are coming to PS5 a chance to experience The Last of Us, which I'm sure is a little bit true, but I guarantee that the vast majority of people purchasing this will be people who are repurchasing it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's also happening around the same time as this TV show is wrapping up development. I don't know when it's going to come out, but they said I think they're done. I think they're done filming now.
Now they're done filming, yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know how long the editing goes and if they are going to release it as a batch, like all episodes, or once if they're going to trickle feed it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's all about building hype for the TV show and just building, everything up at the same time.
I'm telling you what, sidebar here. Pedro Pascal, the guy who's playing Joel, and also happens to play the Mandalorian, he is killing it. If this show does good, he is killing it.
Yeah. Yeah, he's definitely hot right now.
Yeah. He is hot.
So, moving on. Another comment we got, this is from, I do not know how to pronounce this.
It doesn't matter how you pronounce it.
Okay. They said, no, and it never was nearly as good as people make it out to be.
Listen, name we can't pronounce. I know you're just trying to get under our skin here with a little classic troll action, and it's working. You're wrong.
Here's the thing. It's like, not every game is for everybody. And I get that. And like, The Last of Us is a single player, story-driven experience. And that is not why everyone goes to gaming.
Right.
So I understand that like it's not for everybody. There are some games that just aren't for me, and there are some games that I'm gonna love and other people won't, and vice versa. So I get it, but you can't discount that people love this game. You can't just because you don't like it, that doesn't mean that it wasn't worth that other people didn't like it.
Yeah,
it's personal opinion. You can say I didn't think it was nearly as good as people made it out to be, but a broad statement.
Keep that crap off our channel. For the record, Gaming Gig welcomes all sorts of video game discourse, whether or not we agree or disagree with your statement. That being said, never trash The Last of Us again. Moving on. Our next poll. We got 2 polls today.
Two polls, yeah.
2 topics, 2 polls.
That's right.
2 chains. We said, did you pick up Mario Strikers Battle League? And this didn't surprise me either.
It surprised me a little bit, honestly.
There's a whopping 6% that said, yes, I'm enjoying it. There's a whopping 4% that said, yes, but I'm disappointed. There's 29% that said, no, I'm going to wait and get it later. And then 61% of people said, nope, not interested.
So first of all, the numbers of people who picked it up, we're talking about 10% of people picked it up, which is a pretty low number. But, hey, it's a Switch game. Not everyone's got a Switch. Not everyone's into the Nintendo sports game. So I get it. Okay, maybe 10%. Maybe that makes sense. The fact that almost half of the people who picked it up were disappointed by it is kind of concerning. Okay. I do get, there are some valid criticisms that we've voiced, and I get like why you might be disappointed.
Totally.
Out of the 29% of people who say they're going to wait and get it later, I bet only 10% of those people actually do that.
Probably.
And then the 61% of people who said they're not interested in the game, if you're not interested in the game, you're not interested in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I think people are kind of tired of getting burned by this Nintendo Sports, drip feed of content. Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
and it's getting a bad rap, is the thing.
Yeah, it is.
Like that's why I never played golf, because it got a bad rap.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I haven't played it yet. It's like I've owned it, and it's just been sitting there, and it's been staring at me. And I'm like, I'll get to it eventually. But if I had heard great reviews about it, and I'd been excited about it, I've done it already. But it's been like a year or something, and I still haven't played it. It's just I don't know. So, Shakayla Thomas says there needs to be more playable characters in this game than just the 10. And we've kind of gone over that, but I think that 10 is probably the minimum acceptable number, but I still think it's acceptable. So I don't personally think it's that big of a deal. I would really like to see, if anything, in terms of just the base content, I think more stadiums. And beyond that, my main criticism is let 4 people on different systems go online together.
Yeah, that's the main one for me.
That's so disappointing, because I was thinking like we could have our gaming gig crew, everyone who we play Sea of Thieves with 4 people.
Yeah,
we could get all of those on Switch and we could play this game together. But nope, can't do that.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, so that is very disappointing.
They need to fix that. Do you think they actually will fix that? You think they? I mean,
Yeah, in like a year. It'll be something like once the game's completely dead,
yeah.
no one's playing anymore, they'll announce that it's fixed. Just like they did this with Mario Party, Super Mario Party, the first Mario Party on Switch. It was like 3 years later, or maybe not three, but maybe like 2 years later, multiple years. They finally were like, oh, and now you can actually play the regular game, like the full board game online.
Oh yeah,
You could only do
that.
mini games
Yeah.
until that. So they waited like years and then did it. So yeah, they're probably going to do it, but it'll be way
That's
after
sad.
when it should be, unless people make a huge stink about it. So maybe do that.
Yeah, do
But the
your
thing
part.
but the thing is, for people to make a big stink about it, a community has to immediately take the game and really want to play it.
right.
And I think that we're so new to the game, we just don't know if if the community is going to take to it and if they're going to be that passionate about it to make it happen.
Yeah, I don't know. I want it to be that way. I wanted it to be that way from the first announcement, but we'll see.
Yeah.
So, anyway, guys, we're at our last segment here. So, what games you playing, Randy?
I've had a pretty big week for gaming. I finished playing. I should say I finished the Leon playthrough of the Resident Evil 2 remake, and that was lots and lots of fun. Loved it. And so I did that, and now I'm gonna do the Claire playthrough next. So I'm not done with that, but I finished that part. I started playing Metal Gear Solid 5.
Phantom Pain.
Phantom Pang, yeah. And I'm a few hours into it, still kind of learning it and kind of coming to grips in terms of like what I'm actually supposed to be doing and what the actual gameplay is like. Because it has a big opening sequence that's very story driven and it isn't the main gameplay. So like I had to get through that. And then now I'm still I got past like the tutorial missions and I'm just now getting into like the main thing. So I'm still kind of working through that.
Yeah.
Playing Stardew Valley with Catherine every night, and then streaming Sea of Thieves, and I've been playing some Mario Strikers. So a lot of games this week.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've been playing a lot of Mario Strikers for the past few days. This week I played a metric crap ton of Sea of Thieves.
Yeah,
There were multiple days when I pretty much played it all day.
you made your full-time job out of it.
I pretty much did. Hashtag summer life. So that's been awesome because that's something I've wanted to do. I'm also getting much better at the mouse and keyboard. So if you've been keeping track of my mouse and keyboard experiment, which you haven't, it's getting better. So that's nice. Let's see. I started, or I continue to play Triangle Strategy. I played that for a big chunk one of the days this week. And I also started Diablo Immortal. I don't know if I'm going to stick with that one because I don't have $110,000.
Yeah.
It's like the biggest cash grab, pay to win game I've ever really started.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to pay anything for it. So eventually I'll burn out, I'm sure. But there are some guys we play Sea of Thieves with who convinced me to download it. And they're really into it. And I can see why. The gameplay is good. It's definitely one of those like, you're constantly picking things up. You're constantly getting better, constantly getting that like endorphin rush or whatever. And the gameplay's fun, but I don't know how much I'll really play it.
It does not look fun to me at all.
You don't like games like that, man.
No. It like everything I've seen. I watched like kind of an extended gameplay of it this week just to kind of see what it was like again, because I'd seen like the trailers and stuff, but I wanted to see like what actually playing the game was like, and nothing about it looked fun to me.
Yeah, you don't like games like that. I've learned that about you. Like it's kind of Vampire Survivors-ish. I mean, really, what you should say is Vampire Survivors is slightly Diablo inspired, probably. But that games like that just don't seem to be your bag.
No, it just didn't. Nothing about it looked slightly chaotic.
Yeah.
Which, it didn't like. I'm sure there's strategy. I'm sure, but what I gathered from what I saw, it just, I don't know. It just nothing looked like it was really that compelling to me. So maybe I just don't get it. Maybe it's just not a game for me. I'm cool with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel that.
So yeah. Well, guys, until next time, I'm Randy.
And I'm Daniel.
And this has been Gaming Gig.
Peace out.